Just like to get the rocket off the ground, it goes through what, 95% of its fuel is all in the takeoff, right? And then with a train, it's like all the effort and energy to get it going, and then once it reaches a certain speed, or once the rocket reaches a certain altitude, it's almost just coasting, so to speak. That's the momentum, and this is the key. This is really the key. If we work with ourselves properly and we remove everything, right, we become the momentum. And now we're manifesting based upon who we are. And it isn't this, it doesn't happen by not working with yourself optimally. It doesn't happen by not taking actions. It doesn't happen by wanting things. It doesn't happen through vision boards. It happens through working with yourself properly and optimally, having a clear understanding, a clear, tangible understanding of who you actually are, what money is, and how it actually works. And now there's no friction. None. There's nothing impeding anything. And this is what I mean about the momentum. But we have to start off with the proper understanding of who we are, right? So it's not adding mantras and mantras and affirmations certainly have their place, but not until you've cleaved everything away. If you're adding on top, right, and you have all these layers, you're taking away from the completeness, the authenticity, and the power of the self, right? So all of these classes and courses, if someone wants real results, there's enough information out there. What people need is a solution, right? And that's what this is. That's what all these classes and courses, they're a solution to how this actually works. Now, the caveat is, if you actually think or believe that you don't have to do any work on yourself, that you're just going to sit there and things are going to manifest, you're out of your mind. You're absolutely out of your mind. That is delusional. Show me one person who doesn't take any actions and can manifest whatever it is that they desire. It's a lie. It doesn't work that way. So if you want to, if you're motivated to work on yourself, I will give you the solution as to how to do it. Step by step, literally, as you know.
Confused, you know what the next steps are going to be. RJ lays them out. Not only does he cleave everything away, he gives you the step by step after that. Now, RJ, you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but did the purpose that you had for the money make any difference in your ability to manifest it? Like, because you had a great purpose for it, did it come easier?
Oh, for sure. And this goes back to the authenticity, right? That's what it's about. This is authentic to who and what I am. So, and this is to raise money for a nonprofit to get the teachings out there. Hey, this is what happens when you shadow ban. So this is to get the teachings out there in a very large way. So yes, the authenticity, the where the desire is coming from, what the real purpose of it is, and for my entire presence here on this planet, right? It's all related. So absolutely, it plays a major role. Your authenticity, if you're being true to who and what you really are, and the actions, the desires that we have, we know that they're true to who and what we are, is when they benefit us and everyone simultaneously. It's not just for any energy you want behind your desire for your manifestation is your own. And that way no one can mess with it. And also people don't even realize that they're doing that. I'm not talking about they're sitting at home, trying to do spells to men. Maybe some are trying to do spells that you don't have the success that you desire to manifest. It's just more their own programming starts emanating once you tell them, and it starts to mix, because then they think about it. Now they're connected with what it is that you shared, or now they're programming. So you want to operate in stealth mode. So that's 9 times out of 10. Now that the caveat, and we talk about some of this in the larger vibrational engineering class, there is a caveat to that. And so, and that's when your goal, or what it is that you desire to manifest, actually requires other people's participation. And then at that point, that's when you actually want to draw them in. It's part of how we lose our own energy, because we're giving energy over here and over here, and it's not even what our desire is. It's not in alignment with our desire. But this is also how we create parallel conditions that we don't desire to actually experience, because we don't have control over our mind. So a master only thinks about what they intend to manifest. And that's the metaphysical understanding behind it. It has to do with the order of creation: desire, intention, thought, emotion, action, behavior, in complete unification. And when we understand that, a master only thinks about what it is that they desire to manifest because it's a complete unification with the order of creation.
I'm a beach ball. I'm a beach ball.
Right? Yeah.
Now, what if the what if our focus is what we're focusing on is kind of disillusion? Like obviously, I could never become a beach ball. Do you have any advice for that?
Well, okay, yeah. They don't belong to us. They belong to something else. Call it the matrix, call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't come from you. It's not authentic to you. So all the believing in the world and all the mantras in the world and the wish fulfilled and all this kind of stuff, it's not going to work. That's not what is. It's not what is. And when you work with what is, the I am, that's what manifests. That abundance.
I'm gonna prove you wrong, RJ.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
I'd
love to see it. I'm open to learning 24/7. I'd love to see it.
Okay, beautiful. RJ, I did want to get into some of the talents and abilities that you had to cultivate in order to bring about this 100K because like we said, back to the people just sitting around. I think you had to have sales ability to have a vision, ability to say that vision into words, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, I haven't really thought about that, but to me, than just sitting here and not doing anything and anticipating or expecting or being such a state of delusion that it just shows up. Now, the fun is working with yourself optimally, is seeing the result of your desire, intention, thought, emotion, action, behavior in complete unification. To me, that is fun. That's being a true master creator, is harnessing and working with all the subtleness of who and what we really are, not just our physical body and not just our thoughts, working with the larger self in unification. To me, that's what fun is.
I also think that it's very disempowering just to sit back and say it's going to be brought to me. Like this is a good way to take your power back. You're the one taking the action. You're the one reaping the rewards of that action. And there's nowhere else in this physical universe, at least I feel like, where you can put in no action and rewards is given. So it kind of seems like a law. But anyway, RJ, anything else you want to mention with regards to the 100,000 that you're able to manifest?
I mean, I really mean this. People have taken these courses and manifested way more than that in the same amount of time. So this is actually how you do it. It's the stuff that we're talking about here. And of course, there's more in these classes and courses, right? But this understanding, this is how you do it. People do this all the time. All the time. We had someone in vibrational engineering manifest a $10 million house. They sent pictures, everything. A $10 million house. So once you understand your
my message needs to be in a way where I can hit all 25 people. It needs to be broad enough to where all 25 people may not like the message, but they're getting something from it. And that is evolution. You must continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab. Because that's where the knowledge came from. So for me, I must cap myself so I can come back with better, more unique knowledge versus all that cookie cutter knowledge that's out there. That's why people buy the books I have, because it's not cookie cutter. It's real knowledge.
The other thing now is when you first started, you were a lone ranger.
Right.
Nobody really knew who you were outside of some obscure endurance places and half-heard truths of these weird myths.
But it's important more to stay humble within that hunger. So while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, but humility is everything.
What was that story about William Crawford, the janitor?
Yeah. So this guy won the Medal of Honor. So he won the Medal of Honor, and which is the highest award in the military. And this guy went to the Air Force Academy, and he was a janitor. And no one knew who the fuck this man was. He had the highest award. How hard that training is, I don't expect anybody to understand it, but 1%. But the loud voices of this world, are the 99% who don't understand exactly what you have to do. That's why when I speak and you don't understand me, it's probably a good thing. Because that probably means I'm in an area of life that you're not in, which is fine. That's why I don't judge people. Problem. That's the problem. And that's the problem that I've always had. I've always had is that right there. Is that with even some of the most trained people in the world fall back on that. It's easy to talk about. Like I said, when you go through it once, it's a perishable skill. Hardness, mental hardening, mental toughness, it's a perishable skill. Just because you went through some training once and you got through it doesn't mean it lasts fucking forever. And that's where most people hated me in my life, because I realized that. You don't just say, oh, I got it, I'm checked off, I'm good for the rest of my life. That's why you have to recall. You recall fucking everything. And you definitely must recall when it comes to the mind. That is one of the biggest requalifications you must have. And when you're at that level, you got to recall every fucking day, not once a year.
One of the other things that you did to stop yourself from getting soft was running the Moab 2.
40-mile race was hard at once. It became something that was very easy after I figured it out. So that's why that happened.
Well, you got lost on the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And then you went to bed and woke up halfway through the night and nudged Kish and said, how long have we got left until the end of the race? But because you hadn't completed the official route, you couldn't go across the official finish line.
Yeah.
So you ran your race.
Answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step. So if I choose not to, that's on me. I got to live with that.
Does that link in with the 1 second decision?
Yes. Yes. So the 1 second decision is I had to live through that 1 second decision several times during this race. So this race took me 100 and some hours. Okay. And this is what people don't get. For you to finish that race, even though I DNF'd, I still finished in the time. So there's a lot of pride in that. If you're 100 and some odd hours, let me use Hell Week. This is a perfect example. Hell Week's 130 hours. And now I'm thinking logically, because I'm worn now. Mentally, I'm worn. I've taken that 1 second. Let's not quit yet, guys. Let's fucking think about your options. Where are you going to end up if you quit this shit? Where are you going to go? What are you going to say to yourself? Because you know you're going to get warm. The second you get all this water, you can take a shower and you can be warm. And you could be, and in 5 days, you could be out. So I start thinking logically. I calm my brain down because your brain just wants to get the fuck out. Ring the bell, put your hammer down, get warm, and then you're really fucked. And these are the things you have to think about in 1 second decision. So that's what that's all about. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back in the proper perspective, and then saying, I really do want to be here. The second decision is, it's all about your mind takes control of you. You have to say, fuck you, I run this motherfucker. And that's what that's all about.
We'll get back to Goggins in 1 minute, but first I need to tell you about Element. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. I've replaced my morning coffee with Element every day for over 3 years now, and I've never looked back. It means I've optimized my hydration, my brain feels better, I'm not getting mental fog, and it's helping me to curb cravings if I'm fasting throughout the day. Even Video Guy Dean uses it. My favorite flavor is the orange. That in a cold glass of water upon waking feels really, really good. It's a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, which helps me to feel at my absolute best all day. Also, they have a no BS, no questions asked refund policy, so you can buy it and try it for an unlimited amount of time. And if you do not like it, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now.
Right.
The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die, and the now is just for now. And even 130 hours is just 130 hours.
That's right.
And you get to look back, and do you look back with pride and glory, or do you look back with shame and guilt?
That's it. That's the 1 second. You just summarized it right there. And most people fail those 1 seconds. And then that 1 second leads to 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of fuck. I have people who have been through training with me, Ranger School, SEAL training, Air Force training, and I get calls from them today, and they have great lives. And all they talk about is how they failed in that one moment. and they can't even. They can't even. Not suffering, but you're thinking about what you could have been. I am exactly what I should have been, and that's where people start to lose it. Because now I realize that in that 1 second. I go through all that. I know how it's going to feel because I failed so many times before. Failure is the ultimate thing, man. I failed so many times before. That's why I look at failure anymore as failure. I look at it as my first, second, third attempt. So that's what that's all about, man.
Well, I mean, you went back to go and do Moab again, the second time,
That's right.
which is your second attempt.
That's right.
Have you banged your knee up? It was pretty bad in between the first and the second one.
It was pretty bad way before either one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been jacked up now for about 20 years.
I've seen some gnarly photos of it recently. It looks interesting.
Yeah. So all those miles, she's a fucking trooper, bro.
Hang on, so was there leakage
Oh yeah.
that was on the video from behind?
So my shorts were absolutely raw dogged. Yeah. So when you pull them down, it's just blood. And so she goes in the bathroom because she didn't know what she was going to see. She has the Desitin cream. She walks in there, and I pull them down and spread them open. And I go, put that shit all up in there. So she goes in for the kill. And she's putting this Desitin cream all over the fucking place, man. And you know what? This is the funny thing about it. That's when you know you got a good motherfucker with you, man. When you're that raw and you're that fucked up, and she's just like nothing. It was like saying, hey, can you like put some lotion on my back before I go lay out? That's how she was in there, man, getting in it. That's it, man.
Have you considered that might be the most traumatic event?
Talk about after I finished, and then the ultra raveling or unraveling had begun. When I lay down, so.
Oh, that was on the duvet. And you
Yeah.
didn't know the word duvet.
Yeah, I know what
What
duvet
the fuck
was.
do you know the word duvet?
Blanket, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Out in the streets, we call it blankets.
Okay.
Anything that you wrap up in is a fucking blanket.
Cool.
So I'm laying on the duvet, and she's all fucking like about her damn ratings, that fucking Airbnb shit. And I'm really like, hey, I'm about to shit.
Fuck,
right
because
here.
it's not your place.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
Yes.
I can see why.
So
be considered
that
guilty.
scene was bad. But once again, she
like
soldiered up.
like a crime scene.
It was a crime scene.
So you've done all of this stuff, right? You've done the SEAL Selection Week 3 times,
Yep.
strapping the legs up so that you can run a Badwater ultra race,
Yep.
the Asperger's, everything.
Yes.
Of all of the physical pursuits that you've endured, which has been the most painful?
By far, my first 100 miles.